legendary Arsenio Hall, let's see, comic, actor, comedian, talk show host, author.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
I don't think you even contemplate that last title when you're growing up in the ghetto of Cleveland.
Right.
New York Times best-selling author. I didn't know what that meant. And when it happened to me recently, and that's good, because when it hits you by surprise and you're like, get that call.
Right.
And you're like, what? Oh, that's cool. I was just happy being able to do a book, document my truths, eliminate some of the bullshit that's in the zeitgeist, you know. I think the most important thing too about the book, I had a lady come up to me. I was on the road recently. I'm at a gig and me and Jay Leno went out and did a thing called Kings of Late Night. So we're touring.
Nice.
Lady walks up to me and says, I want you to sign your book. And she says, I've been waiting for a year to get you to sign it. Now I know my book came out March 31st.
Right.
And I realized at that moment, there are a lot of bootleg books out there. So one of the great things is to be able to have a book about me written by me. I mean, there are books out there that are compilations of interviews I've done over the years. There are books out there written by people who don't like me, who wrote them under an alias.
Right,
and you
right,
trace the name and find out it doesn't exist. So this has been a blessing on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
To just discuss it. Yeah, I was talking to Minister Farrakhan's son, Mustafa, recently, and I met his son.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about the grandson of Minister Farrakhan. All his life, he hears there was this show and it went off because my granddad was on it, which is bullshit and unfair for those grandchildren.
Right.
So that's another example of how I get to do this, publish my truths, and kind of get rid of some of the barber shop journalism that has existed.
You know, your memoir, it pulls back the curtain on fame, on race and Hollywood. So what's one truth in the book that you felt was most important for you to finally share?
I was this kid who dreamed. And I think people should know that if you add a little hard work, dreams come true. You know, I had a Super 8 camera when I was little. We used to do little movies in the neighborhood. I used to do a talk show in my basement.
Oh, you're getting ready.
Oh, man. I would watch Johnny Carson at night. And the next day, I would interview my friend who was a singer, Junior, down the street, or my friend Kenny, who wanted to go to the Olympics because he was the fastest runner in my neighborhood. But everything I did, everything I'm doing, I dreamed of. You have to manifest your dreams, and sometimes specifically manifest your dreams. I used to roller skate when roller skating was big and flippers was in the city, and Lil Bow Wow was doing skating movies. There was that period. I used to skate down Hollywood Boulevard. And if you skate down Hollywood Boulevard, you notice there are blank stars.
That's right.
And I read that those are the ones that haven't been assigned yet. And early on in my career, I spotted an empty one next to Marilyn Monroe's star. I want that one. And one day I got that one. So every night, I'm laying with Marilyn Monroe. That's the closest I'll ever get to being a Kennedy.
Yeah.
Just had to make sure you were listening.
Oh no, paying full attention. Yeah, man, you know, manifesting, I like that word, and it's become a buzzword to a lot of people, but why do you think some people, especially with creatives, why do you think they're afraid of embracing manifesting?
You know, I'll tell you how it was for me. I hesitated, and I didn't know the word then. Dream was the biggest word I knew. And I was afraid to speak about my dreams. I remember a literature teacher in high school let us write an essay on a dream.
Mm.
And I didn't realize it, but at that moment, that was manifesting. But I also realized I got teased after I had to read mine to the class, because mine was about going to Las Vegas and being a stand-up comic and opening. I think I used a lady named Dee Dee Bridgewater, who I'd seen on the Tonight Show.
Yes.
And I'm opening for Dee Dee Bridgewater in Vegas. By the way, I do the Hollywood Bowl Blue Note Jazz Festival every year. I host it for 2 days at the Bowl. Last year, one of the guests was Dee Dee Bridgewater.
Nice.
So, you know, that kind of stuff always makes me smile. But I didn't want to talk about it much after that experience because people tease you. And you're in a position of making your dream come true once you let people know you're dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a part of me that was like, well, if I fail, and if things don't go down like I want them to, now I'm this stupid dreamer, this fool.
Mm.
So sometimes you want to keep your dreams to yourself because you're afraid
Right.
to let them out. Once you let them out, then you got to do something.
That's right.
You got to leave Cleveland. I used to sit and dream privately with Steve Harvey, our Steve Harvey. He went to college with me at Kent State. And we used to sit after playing basketball in the gym. You know how you're taking off your socks and putting on your slide and getting all your stuff together. We would talk about the fact that we wanted to be stand-ups.
Right.
Franklin Ajayi from Car Wash had come to our college. And Dick Gregory had come to our college.
Nice.
So we knew very much what a stand-up was. And that was our junior year. And our senior year, Steve didn't come back. And back then, if you don't get Steve mama number, you can't find Steve. Steve's not in his room. Everybody's like, Steve didn't come back.
Right.
I don't know what happened to Steve. Can't text Steve. We ain't got no cell phones then. And I had to wait until years later and reconnect with my friend. And he had a little detour in his life. But he eventually continued to pursue his dream. He tells a story that I love about his dad seeing me on a show called Solid Gold with Marilyn McCoo. And his dad called him and said, if your ass had done what you supposed to do, you'd be out there without singing. And Steve said that motivated him.
Yeah.
Because for him, it's like me and this dude would dream together, and now he's there, and I'm somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it kind of lit a fire under him to go back to that dream. And boy, did he make it come true.
You know, one of the things I like that you just said in that story was the fact that Steve got motivated from seeing you on stage. Why do you think it's so hard for some people to see the inspiration in somebody else's journey as opposed to being a hater?
Steve got motivated because his dad saw me on TV and called his ass up and said, and what are you doing right now?
Right.
Yeah, but go on. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's all good. Yeah. Why do you think some people are more of a hater than they are like finding inspiration in somebody else's journey?
Well, the first answer that comes to mind, just being a human being, because I'm human. I'm just like everybody else. That's another thing that the book illustrates a lot. I'm just like you, kid from the hood with a dream. I think hating is easier. You know, it's so much easier to be famous in the comments and not in the spotlight. And I don't mean just show business, any spotlight.
Right.
My son's a businessman.
Absolutely.
He's on the board of directors for this wonderful bookstore.
Absolutely. What's the name of the book? Sorry.
This is called Lore.
That's right.
And I love it.
Yeah.
It's aesthetically beautiful, and it's full of something that we don't deal with enough in our life. Books.
That's right.
There's so much knowledge in books, and too often I use my books to hide cash. You know, I looked in a book the other day that I had not read, and my son's birth certificate was in it. You know, but on the other hand, gosh, I hate to jump around, but I want to get this out about books. a book got me started dreaming. My book talks about my cousin bringing me a book from the Cleveland Public Library. And it was a book on entertaining with magic. So I started doing magic tricks and making money at birthday parties and bar mitzvahs and different things around the Cleveland area. Books can release dreams, and it's really important. Before I wrote this book, I found a book at the house that I hadn't seen in years. Sometimes reading the book a second time can give you new life. It was a book called Who Moved My Cheese? And I was packing to change homes and saw this book and read it again. If you can find it, Who Moved My Cheese will get you going. And it's a small book. It ain't much bigger than a DMV pamphlet. So find it. And it was something I read when I was a young man, and I read again, and it made me push forward writing the book. Okay, now I know I jumped off your answer, but hating is easy.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to hate than to do a demo and put it on SoundCloud. It's so much easier to hate than to get together with some friends and open a business. It's so much easier to hate than to work.
Absolutely.
And by the way, haters are never Lionel Richie or Cory Booker.
Right.
Haters are usually people doing nothing, and they got time to hate. Because if you're doing what you're supposed to do, you really don't have the time and the energy or the negative forces within you to use for that.
Yeah. You just mentioned that you started out as a magician. How much do you think that experience helped you be the showman that you are today?
Oh, it was very important. One of the things that the book talks about is I was doing magic at a magic convention in Colon, Michigan, where I'd had lunch with a great magician named Harry Blackstone Jr., who is deceased now. And I'm sitting with him and meeting all these adult magicians. I'm the only black person in the town, much less the building.
Right.
Colon, Michigan, the magic capital of the world. So I enter this contest and I'm performing there and meeting all these magicians, and this magician, I never forgot his name, even to the point of writing this book. His name was Hank Morehouse. And he said, "You were great. I took second place in that contest." He said, "You were great." He said, "Congratulations on the second place, but congratulations on being first place as an orator." He says, "You're funny." He said, "When you're doing the magic, I enjoyed the magic, but when you spoke, I was really entertained." He says, "I wouldn't be surprised if one day you end up as a stand-up comic." I didn't even know what that meant.
Right.
I didn't know what a stand, because when they introduce Richard Pryor or Flip Wilson on the Ed Sullivan Show, they don't say stand-up comic Richard Pryor. They just introduce Richard Pryor, and they don't use that word. So for the rest of my life, I had that in my head. And then I go see Al Green one day. My mother took me to see Al Green, and they introduce a stand-up comic before Al Green comes out. And that moment helped to change my life.
Yeah.
The next most important moment is when my house burns down. I'm a magician and a musician. My drums burn up. My little guitar burn up. All my magic equipment burned up. All I had was my ability to think and talk. And God works in mysterious ways.
Absolutely.
Because at that point, the only thing I could do was think and talk. And I decided, okay, now I specifically go after that thing me and Steve Harvey used to talk about, being a stand-up comic.
Yeah. I often tell people, especially the generation behind us, that the 80s and the 90s were one of the best times to be in entertainment, to be in Hollywood. There were so many things that were going on. There were so many things happening. And a big part of it was your show. What does it feel to be such an important part of that time period? And what are some of your best memories during those times?
Wow. You know, when you're a part of something, you don't think of it as being special. But I think you're right. There was something special about the 90s. I remember going in a movie theater and watching a black and white movie directed by an unknown director named Spike Lee. And during that same time, I remember Robert Townsend making a movie with his credit card.
Yeah.
I remember we didn't have cell phones. I remember reading about a concert that Prince did where he opened for the Rolling Stones, and he wasn't received very well because that wasn't his audience.
Right.
There were things going on for the first time, things we had never seen before, like the syndrome of she's got to have it. And some of these incredible new musicians, even artists having small labels. You know, I grew up listening and watching Capitol Records do their thing, Columbia Records do their thing. All of a sudden, I heard this title, Death Row, and no matter what you think about it, what it meant to me is we're starting to be the owners of our situations. And that era of a lot of people doing a lot of things for the first time was incredible. You know, people realizing that their music wasn't loved or embraced by people outside of the neighborhood, outside of the culture's bubble. So they couldn't get record deals, and they were making records in their basements, in their bathrooms, and selling them at swap meets out of their trunk. We don't even know right now how to get to a swap meet, but it was important. Selling music out of your trunk was important. It started a whole new era of enterprising young people of all colors. And then you throw the internet into it a little later. If you have talent and a dream now, you don't need nobody
But yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being a pioneer, I'm gonna call you a pioneer because
Because I'm old and pioneers are old. You can't be a young pioneer.
The Arsenio Hall Show. You know, you had hip hop. You know, you had mostly our people. So how did you fight the pressures of the network trying to force you to tone down the format a little bit, to bring on more guests that might not necessarily look like us?
Yeah.
Then,
You know, those days were interesting because, you know, I'm the son of a Baptist preacher. And by the time I got the show, my dad was going on, right? But what was important to me was just a moment where I could put on Shirley Caesar or the Winans, bring out Cece, and Whitney would help me get numbers by joining us.
yeah.
Whitney Houston. Hip hop was mine, and I didn't see it anywhere. I realized that Oprah didn't love hip hop, and Don Cornelius didn't love hip hop, and there's nothing wrong with that. It was just my sign, because my dad used to say, to make money in a business, you have to find a void and then fill that void. I realized that hip hop didn't have a home. And all the things I grew up wishing I could see more of on the Tonight Show and on Ed Sullivan, those things didn't have a home. So I wanted to be the home.
Yeah.
And Paramount, I get Paramount, don't get me wrong. I was a stubborn, hard-headed young man who wanted to do what he wanted to do. They wanted to help me get bigger ratings. And they wanted me to be in the position of inheriting Johnny Carson's audience when Johnny moved along.
Yeah.
And I had a different plan.
Yeah.
I'd rather do it 6 years my way than 26 years their way.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right.
I just fought for what I wanted, and I made plenty money.
Mm-hmm.
I know there was more on the table the way they wanted me to do it. There was more longevity on the table, maybe. But I had so much fun.
Mm-hmm. I can tell, man.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
And I feel so much more fulfilled here in 2026. I'm so glad that God made me hard-headed
Yeah.
and stubborn, because not to quote Sinatra, but I did it my way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so happy with my past.
Mm-hmm. I think you got to be your authentic and honest self, and I think that's what resonated so much with everybody during that time period. What's one of your I'm gonna be real cliche.
Mm-hmm.
What's one of your funniest memories during that time period? What's the craziest thing that happened?
Wow. Every day, something crazy happened. From meeting Ice Cube in a hallway and him handing you a tape, you know, and it said, "Fuck the police" on it.
Right.
And Paramount wouldn't let me do it. I use the word tape, and I almost smile every time I say the word tape, because we don't have cassette tapes anymore.
Right.
Tommy Mottola handed me a cassette tape at the Ivy, a restaurant in West Hollywood on Robertson. And on the tape, in Sharpie, was written "Vision of Love." And he said, "Don't look now, but there's a girl behind me. Her name is Mariah. She's the truth."
Mm-hmm.
And I got to put Mariah on
Mm-hmm.
and introduce her to the American public. The night the riots happened, and Paramount said, "We can't do a show for insurance purposes and safety purposes."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Nah, we got to figure out a way to do the show. Because tonight I'm the town hall.
Right.
The only way we can reach the brothers and sisters I would like to reach is right here from this show. They're not watching the news, and they're probably not watching me, but maybe we can bring them to the tube and we can talk." And I had everybody from Sinbad to Mayor Bradley,
Mm-hmm.
from Sean Penn to you name it. People showed up, and Paramount said, "Well, we can't get an audience. That could be problematic if somebody got hurt being out tonight." I called my pastor, Reverend Cecil L. Murray, First AME, and he said, "I'll make sure you have an audience." And he sent 300 people from the church, and we had church in a different way.
Love that, man. At some point, you decided to walk away from the business for a little while and focus on being a father.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever look back and regret any part of that decision? Or, man, are you just happy to see, your child thriving today?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because what people don't know is you and I are sitting here, and
Mm-hmm.
you have a cameraman, audio guy doing all the technical stuff. And the only other person in this room to my left is my son.
That's right.
Interesting question while he sits there. I'm not good with regret.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that so much of my life and so many of my decisions are guided by God.
Mm-hmm.
So I never regret. I just try to turn the moment into something positive. And I knew my life was missing something.
Mm.
So when Letterman came to late night and I lost a lot of my CBS affiliates, profit margin changed, I'm like, this is a good time to make a move. I'm from Cleveland. I watched Jim Brown make a move while he was on top. When he could have still played another year, he decided to be a movie star. I think you should always make your move a little earlier than others.
Mm.
So I tried to leave on top. And when I'm laying at the crib, looking at the ocean and Catalina off in the distance. I was laying there alone. And it was real clear what was missing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Irvin Magic Johnson had a second son. And I brought his son to see Irvin coach. And while I was sitting there, I couldn't help but observe EJ's excitement over Daddy Coach. Daddy Coach. And that stuck in my head. Then at halftime, we went down the tunnel. I went to let EJ say hi to Daddy. And EJ almost hurt himself jumping out of my arms and into Irvin's arms. There is nothing like the love of a son for his parents.
Yes.
And more specifically, at that moment, I realized what was missing from my life. And I had fame and money, but now it was time for a personal dream to come true. And I had to just focus on it.
Yeah.
And the best way to do it is famous with money. You know, because I don't have to not be home if I want to be home. I don't have to be on tour. There's a point where I went and did some dates. There's a point where I did a show called Martial Law, which I loved. It was so much fun. I learned so much. But I was able to pick and choose and be there in the pickup line. My favorite picture is a little picture I have at home on my nightstand. And I'm holding my camera and I see my son in the distance. He turns and he looks and he runs towards the pickup line. Parents wait. And the picture is of him like this. Favorite picture in the world. I finally had that dream. And that son, with that smile that little EJ had when he saw Irvin Magic Johnson. I wouldn't trade those days. I remember sitting, waiting for my kid, and I would sit and talk to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's daughter was in my son's class. And while I'm away from the business and from stand-up, I got to talk to Joe Rogan and share with another comedian, which kept me mentally close to it. And eventually when your son, everybody knows this feeling, every parent knows this feeling. There's a day when you take your son to school and he says, okay, you can drop me off right here, I'm good. And it's like, I'll walk you, no, I'm good. They start to not need you anymore. And that's when you take another show, or that's when you do some dates on the road. But
it's gonna be there.
Yeah, it's gonna be there.
Yeah.
And if it's not for you at that time.
Right.
I just really believe in the power above and its guidance.
Yeah. Man, that was just a beautiful story.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thanks for sitting here with me. I appreciate it. And come out to a club one night and check me out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm at the Comedy and Magic Club soon down in Hermosa. That's too far for you. That's better if you live in Downey. But like I mentioned, the Hollywood Bowl, I do that every year, 2 days.
Yeah.
And come hang.
Got food for you.
Yeah. That baby right there.
Yes. Arsenio, Memoir. That's right.
And you can buy it here at Lore in Leimert Park. If I don't see you here, I'll see you at the Hollywood Bowl or the Comedy and Magic Club or something. Follow me on Instagram.
Yes. Why don't you shout out where you are on Instagram?
Okay. It's easy to find me because it's at Arsenio Hall. And, you know, I'm on Twitter and Facebook and stuff, but when you old, you can't have a whole lot of stomping grounds. So I'm usually on Instagram. That's enough.
All right.
I don't even have a TikTok. I've never been much of a dancer. Isn't it interesting that the best talk show hosts don't really dance? Me and Oprah are probably the worst dancers in the world.
I would love to see the two of you on the floor together.
Oh man, we'd be like Elaine from Seinfeld times 2.
Thank you, man.